So, hello again. It is the 13th of May, and today I'm indoors because outside it is winter again. Well, it's been snowing actually here in Sweden, believe it or not. Not a lot, but enough. And anyway, I want to continue from where I finished last time, which is with this. I was talking about circumcision of the heart and remission of sin, how it's all related. And I want to go deeper into this today from two perspectives. One is from worldly observation and the other from the Bible, and see how these are connected and what it has to say. So, starting with the worldly observations. In 1973, a book was published. It was called the Gulag Archipelago, written by Aleksandr Solzhenitsyn, who was a Russian dissident. He was a guest of the labor camp system called the Gulag, which existed sort of between 1918 and 1960 throughout the whole of the Russian Empire. There were up to 500 or so of these camps, and one estimates that it was maybe 18 million people passed through this system, and up to around 6 million who died, maybe a third of those who died from just exhaustion or cold or whatever, sickness and so on. Now, if we put that in perspective, imagine that's twice the population of Sweden working for free for the state, and a third of them dying from just whatever they die in this system. Anyway, he made some observations, and it was all about good and evil. He said, for example, one thing he said, imagine we could divide the world into two groups. We have the good, we have the evil. And if we just got rid of the evil people, then we'd have these left. And then everything would be a utopia, wouldn't it? You know, problem solved. All the good people would be left and so on. But then he said, it's not really like this. He said the dividing line between good and evil, it doesn't pass between different groups of people. It doesn't pass between different political groups or different creeds, different religions, men, women, different races. It passes, it cuts through the heart of every individual. And no one wants to kill a part of themselves, right? And then he said, furthermore, this dividing line, it oscillates during a person's lifetime. And there are times when that person will appear to be extremely good, but at the same time there will be a vestige of evil still locked in there in some dark corner. And at other times it will oscillate and they will appear to be extremely nasty. But yet there is some vestige of good there, because the mixture is always there. It's always there, one way or the other. And it all goes by the same name. So that's the basic observation, right? And then he said, he realized that this is what all the religions of the world are dealing with, the evil inside each person. Not the evil out there, or the perceived evil between different groups of people, which is more of a political, ideological question, but rather the evil that is inside each person. He also asked himself if he actually had contributed in any way to the sum of all evil in the world, and he concluded that yes, he had. And that made him think even further. Now, there's another person who has studied this a lot, and that is the Canadian psychologist Jordan Peterson. He's famous now for his book 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote for Chaos. He's gone in very deeply into studying how these systems of oppression and evil could even arise and last so long, especially the communist system, but also the Nazi system and so on. And he has an interesting thing to say. He said, who are the most dangerous people in the world? These, the ones who think they're good. They don't have no evil in them at all. Because why are they dangerous? Because they don't realize that really they're like this. And maybe they are very good, or maybe they aren't. Maybe they're actually like this, and just doing what they think is good in the name of something. And so this is interesting, because he said, everyone, he is very clear that each of us has a monster in us. That's this little red thing, and we need to be aware of this, and it's a very good thing to be aware of it. Now, if we go to the Bible, we find that this is also described very, very clearly, right back in the beginning, right back in Genesis. You see, it starts with man was created in the image of God, right? And he was created good. He was perfect. And then he fell into sin. And then God said, behold, man has become like one of us, with knowledge of good and evil. And lest he should eat the tree of life and live forever, we have to stop this. So that's why he got thrown out. So man started off like this and became like this. So there we have it, a connection between what is written in the Bible and what observers such as Solzhenitsyn, Jordan Peterson, many other people have made. And this is sometimes also called the human condition, right? So then what does the Bible say about this? It says that out of the heart comes all manner of evil, and the heart is, I think, above all things, is deceitful above all things and full of wickedness, and who can know it? In Jeremiah 17, somewhere there. And, this is true. It doesn't say out of the brain comes all manner of evil. It says out of the heart comes all manner of evil. The heart, not the brain, that is a problem. In Swedish, it says that the heart is incurably sick. The Swedish translation, I think, the Jeremiah 17 verse there. And that's an interesting description. It's incurably sick, which it actually is, because in this particular state, it is a state of death. Because how did mankind get from this to this? Well, by eating fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And what did God say would happen if man ate that? He said, you will surely die. So this actually is a state of what? It's a rebellious, spiritually dead, rebellious state of knowledge of good and evil. In other words, we have the potential for doing amazingly good things, and we have the potential for doing amazingly evil things. And it's inside each and every one of us. The Bible also says this state, that we are slave to this state. We are slave to sin. We cannot control this. It controls us. And that's, if you really look back at your own life, any time, when you lied, you stole, or whatever, you did anything really stupid, really sort of nasty evil towards other people, towards God or whatever, it's sometimes done impulsively, often done impulsively. It may be done planned as well. There is a sort of a driving force in it. So the question is then, what are we going to do about this? Because you see, most people are really sort of trying to do this one way or another. It doesn't matter if you're religious or not. We train our kids to be civilized according to the rules of whatever civilization we live in. So we want to be good, and we try to sort of keep this under control. And so we learn all sorts of behaviors in order to keep everything in check. But of course we know that, in the background, when we're not being watched, we go off and do silly things. Now, one way to deal with this, you could say, is actually to, use methods to really, really reinforce this. In other words, you take some method that really reinforces the good and keeps the red in check, keeps it out of the way, under control, buried, so to say. And it doesn't really matter. If you think about it, it doesn't really matter if you take Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules of Life, or you take some religious method. You take the 10 Commandments and just religiously stick to those, or you go and join a religion, or you count your good deeds and whatever. It doesn't really matter. It all comes down to the same thing. We're just trying to manage this, just trying to manage it. And so in a way, what we have then is sin management. And the problem with this is that a lot of people think that Jesus came to help us manage sin better, but this is not the truth. It's not, he didn't come with, say, Sin Management 2.0 Ultimate Edition. No, he came with Remission of Sin 1.0 Messiah Edition. And that's a quite different thing, completely different thing. We're not managing our sin anymore. Once you died from your sin, once you've had the sin remitted and you experience the freedom, but you're not fighting, you're not struggling with this anymore. You don't have to manage it. It's not that kind of thing. Of course, sin still exists. There is a possibility, yes, but this is a completely different state. It's a new heart and a new spirit. It's a new creation, it's called. New creation. And this is the whole point. So that's my question now to you. Are you practicing sin management 2.0 Ultimate Edition? Or have you experienced, or do you want to experience, Remission of Sin 1.0 Messiah Edition? Have a think about that. Thanks for listening.